Today I want to tell you 3 stories from his life. That's it. No big deal, just 3 stories. First story is about connecting the dots. He dropped out of Reed College after the first 6 months, but then stayed around as a drop-in for another 18 or so before he really quit. So why did he drop out? It started before he was born. His biological mother was a young, unwed graduate student and she decided to put him up for adoption. She felt very strongly that he should be adopted by college graduates. So everything was all set for him to be adopted at birth by a lawyer and his wife. Expect that when he popped out, they decided at the last minute they really wanted a girl. So his parents, who are on a waiting list, got a call in middle of night and asking, "We have got an unexpected baby boy. Do you want him?" And they said, of course. His biological mother found out later that his mother had never graduated from school and his father had never graduated from college. She refused to sign the final adoption paper. She only relented a few months later when his parents promised that he would go to college. This was the start in his life. And 17 years later, he did go to college. But he nearly chose a college that was almost as expensive as Stanford. His working classes parents' savings were being spent on his college tuition. After 6 months, he could not see the value in it. He had no idea what he wanted to do and no idea how college was going to help him figure it out. Of the money his parents had saved their entire life. So he decided to drop out and trust that it would all work out okay. It was pretty scary at the time, but looking back, it was one of the best decisions he ever made. The minute he dropped out, he could stop taking the required classes that didn't interested him and being dropping in on the ones that looked for more interesting, not all romantic. He did not have a dorm room, so he slept on the floor in friend's room. He turned Coke bottles for the $0.05 deposit to buy food with. He would walk the 7 miles across town every Sunday night to get one good meal a week at the Hare Krishna temple. He loved it. And much of what he stumbled into by following his curiosity and intuition turned out to be priceless later on. Let me give one example. Reed College at the time offered perhaps the best calligraphy instruction in the country. Throughout the campus, every poster, every label on every drawer was beautifully hand calligraphed. Because he had dropped out and didn't have to take the normal classes, he decided to take a calligraphy classes to learn how to do this. He learned about serif and sans serif typeface, about varying the amount of space between different letter combination. What makes great typography great? It was beautiful, historical, artistically way that science cannot capture, and he found it fascinating. None of this had even hope of any practical application in his life. But 10 years later, when they were designing the first Macintosh computer, it all came back to him. And they designed it all into the Mac. It was the first computer with beautifully typography. If he had never dropped in on that single course in college, the Mac would have never had multiple typefaces or proportionally spaced fonts. And since the Windows just copied the Mac, it's likely that no personal computer would have them. If he had never dropped out, he would have never dropped in on these calligraphy classes. And personal computer might not have the wonderful typography that they do. Of course, it was impossible to connecting the dots looking forward when he was in college. but it was very clear looking backwards 10 years later. Again, you can't connect the dots looking forward. You can only connect them looking backwards. How to trust that the dots will somehow connect in your future. You have to trust in something, your gut, destiny, life, whatever. Because believing that the dots will connect down the road, it will give you the confidence to follow your heart. Even when it leads you off the well-worn path, and that will make the all difference.